CA के साथ to make his presentation.
Thank you, CA Ramu sir. In fact, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, let me tell you. Thank you, Murugesan sir, for introducing me, and thank you all the members of Tirupur branch. In fact, whenever there is a call from Tirupur, I can never say no. Because of the fact that if whatever I am today, I owe it to Tirupur also. Whether it is in public life of the ICAI or whether practicing as a chartered accountant in the area of indirect taxes. Tirupur has a very, very major role to play in my life. And I have in many forums acknowledged this fact. I can see my very good friend N. Murugasamy also logged in here. We have CA Kandasamy sir, one of the chairman from this branch, which was a very, very small branch then. In fact, when I talk of Murugasamy sir, I must tell you that when I first intended to go in public life, it was whom I met, and he took me to a temple in Gobi. And from there, everything started. And if I talk of the professional practice that I am doing today, my first presentation in Tamil Nadu was in Tirupur when Soundarajan sir was the chairman of the branch. When I was in the office of Ramakrishnan sir, who is no more now, and I was talking to him and I was telling him that I do something on central excise, etc. A white and white clad gentleman in nice veshti and white shirt, kadar shirt, he walked in, and Ramakrishnan sir introduced me that he is the chairman of the branch. And we had a talk, and Soundarajan sir immediately said, you have to come and speak in the branch. In fact, I was shocked because that was going to be my first address. Nevertheless, I somehow brought inside me boldness and came again to Tirupur and made a presentation there in front of giants. And truly, let me tell you, friends, I was motivated. There was no looking back then. And I started coming again and again to Tirupur. And from what branch was that day and what it is today, there is a huge change. Today is International SMP Day. I greet each and every one of you. All of us are SMP, SME practitioners. All of us are in the same field, all of us are in the same pedestal. CA K. Raghu came and talked about the technology aspects of the audit, technology aspects of the practice. It is very nice to know the latest developments in the world that goes on. A few months back, I would tell you, friends, that I will never use a laptop to the extent I'm using today. I would have never used iPad. A telephone, I use it as a phone or to send messages. But today, without all these gadgets and instruments and the Wi-Fi connection in my house, I feel I am outside the touch of the world. But I should tell you, the Tirupur branch members adopted technology not today or yesterday, long back. I remember very well the latest embroidery machine ever I saw in Tirupur. It was somewhere in the year 99 or 2000. And that embroidery machine can embroider various patterns and designs within minutes on garments. Tirupur has been close to technology more than 2 decades ago itself. Whatever courses the ICAI has to offer, whatever the courses any organization has to offer, the Tirupur members have been in the forefront of taking those courses and upgrading their knowledge and skills. Now, whether the practices that we are doing today, that we are in today, will not be there tomorrow. Some of us always think that whether tax practice will be there. whether audit will be there, internal audit will be there. Esteemed friends, I am of the firm belief that whatever is there today will continue tomorrow also. And more number of areas are going to join. 4 to 5 years back, if someone would have asked you whether you are doing GST practice, service tax, excise duty, many of them were not there in this area at all. There were only very lesser number of chartered accountants. When the Tamil Nadu government introduced VAT, and I had a detailed discussion with the then Commissioner Commercial Taxes, Malati, who then went on to become the Home Secretary, etc. Of course, she is no more today. But she was of the firm view that audit is necessary in VAT area, but then this is not the right time to introduce. Please wait. So after a year or two, when Mr. Krishnan became the Commissioner Commercial Taxes, he moved this amendment, and the government of Tamil Nadu very rightfully amended the VAT law to introduce VAT audit, and that is how majority of our chartered accountant friends came in contact with the indirect taxes. When I started practice in the area of indirect taxes, virtually chartered accountants were not known at all. When I used to go to Central Excise office and discuss notifications, they used to be surprised that why a chartered accountant is coming to Central Excise office to discuss excise areas. For them, chartered accountant means only a person who deals with income tax. Even today, some of them in the world think that chartered accountant means they are best in income tax only. But then friends, look around yourself in Tirupur. There are so many experts today in various other fields working in Tirupur itself, either in practice or in business. A few months before, I had the opportunity of reading a report called Loss of Jobs Report. Now, this was a report which was circulated by, I think, the G20 countries, whereby the loss of jobs report identified 10 important areas of jobs which will no longer have any significance by the year 2030. And one of the areas that they had mentioned was the profession of auditing. Now, when I read the entire report, what conclusion reached my mind was that the statutory responsibilities placed by various countries on their professionals may decrease down the line. And slowly the government will ensure that the statutory responsibilities like audit or compulsory filing, etc., may go in the near future. But let me tell you, friends, that the loss of jobs reports did not, cover the areas of investigations, did not cover the areas of an in-depth analysis of a data which is placed before them. In fact, audit is one area which will never die. I have been traveling continuously to European countries and having a discussion with various practitioners there on the VAT in Europe. In fact, the VAT in Europe, the European Union, is what is GST in India. Many of the chartered accountants in Tirupur have clients who work in European countries, and some of them have access to their European clients also. For example, take the case of Spain. There are many exporters in Tirupur who will be exporting garments, knitted garments to Spain. Some of the chartered accountants may have contacts of the clients, of their clients' contacts in exports area in Spain. In fact, the Spain VAT and the Indian GST are more or less common. I would urge any of you to download the VAT law of Spain. Of course, it is in Spanish, but conversion is available. and go through the relevant provisions which impose the VAT on the transactions in Spain. You will find that more or less we are similar. In fact, there are many clients who come to us to seek advice on manner and methods in which consumption taxes are levied in numerous countries. Esteemed friends, one very important aspect that I'm going to tell you now is with respect to taxability of low value goods. Now, what is this low value goods? You must know this, very important. Today, in the lockdown period, when all of us are sitting at home, we are all dependent on technology, whether we buy any goods or we download any services. In fact, the concept of low value goods arises from the fact that the technology has taken over the commercial world also, if not in India, in major other developed countries. When you travel to developed countries, you will not see many small stores. Even if someone is establishing a business, a small store, the first thing he or she does is creating a website, and in the website creating a portal whereby someone can log into the website and buy certain products. In fact, give me a moment. When I was in Kumbakonam about a year or two back, one of the chartered accountants there introduced me to his client who had come there. He said he is Mr. So-and-so, and he is the owner of the website called party.com. If I'm not wrong, it is party.com that he told me. Party.com. Now, I asked, what is party.com? Very simple, sir. Many of our Indians who live abroad, they want homemade products like pickles, like appalam, like vattal, and also puja products. Party.com arranges and organizes all these homemade products in the website through various small SMEs and cottage industries. If there is a pickle, then if a lady makes a good pickle, the pickle is being sold through party.com. So some 300 to 400 various small enterprises this party.com had tied up, and they were making this particular transaction. Now, one box of pickle, when it is imported by a person in London, does it suffer any tax in India? In India, for the person who has sent this goods called Pickle Box outside India, it is export. It is export. Let us assume it costs about 10 UK pounds. Now, the person who imported this pickle into UK is an individual. Let us say it is Mr. Radhakrishnan who has imported this pickle in London. Now, Radhakrishnan made a payment of 10 UK pounds. This is import into United Kingdom. The pickle did not suffer any consumption tax in India because it is meant for consumption in London. And it is export. Being an export, there is no tax because you cannot export taxes. And since it is only 10 UK pounds, the goods are not taxed in London also, in UK also, because the import laws of UK are exempted when the value of 10 UK pounds is being imported. Now, let me tell you, friends, it is this particular manner of goods which are being sourced by individuals across the world, which force the OECD into what is today known as the Platform Task Force and the discussing about the digital economy and its taxation. Many of the developed countries of the world have now legislated on what is known as low value goods. Let us take the example of Nalli. a cloth store. Anyone across the world can buy a quality saree from Nalli. Anyone across the world. You can ask me how. Through their website. Through their website or through an electronic commerce operator. I am going to give you an example now. Let us assume Mr. Subramaniam in Sydney, Australia. His wife wants to buy a nice silk saree to be worn on Deepavali in Australia, Sydney. He goes to the website, he makes the payment, and the saree leaves India and is received in Sydney. Again, like the pickle example, both the cases there is no taxes. Now, what is happening in this virtual world? Please listen to me carefully. In this virtual world today, the majority of the developed countries, especially all the European countries and United Kingdom. Now, today I have to talk of European Union minus the United Kingdom. European Union, United Kingdom, Australia, Singapore, likewise few other countries have imposed what is known as taxation of low value goods legislations in their respective tax laws. What is Australian tax law? I'll just discuss one tax law. What is Australian tax law in this concept? The Australian tax law says any person who is exporting into Australia, any person, please be with me, any person who is exporting into Australia low value goods, and the turnover of such low value goods into Australia exceeds 75,000 Australian dollars. Now, in the Nalli example, I will tell you. Suppose Nalli is exporting into Australia low value goods. Thousands of Indians are buying their sarees and other dress materials from Nalli, from Nalli's portal. And the turnover into Australia for Nalli exceeds 75,000 Australian dollars. Then the Australian government requires Nalli to register in Australia, pay the Australian VAT. Isn't it surprising? Nalli has got no permanent establishment. They have got no PE in Australia. But the Australian government makes it mandatory for anyone who has a portal and which is authorized and which is working in Australia to register. The Australian government, you can ask me, how do they capture data? Through their normal banking channels, the Australian government captures data and they find out as to whether how much turnover a person has made in Australia. If they are violating the law, the Australian government has sufficient provisions to ensure that they collect this tax from the establishment, that is Nalli, whose portal is active in Australia. So this is the development. This has taken place in the area of goods, low value goods. In some of the countries, the exemption is nil, especially when it comes to services. Take the case of Ananda Vikatan's publications. Now, anyone can view any TV channel of Ananda Vikatan or Sun TV or so on and so forth in any country of the world. Any country of the world. Now, these services are taxable in major countries, again developing countries, developed countries also. In India also, if someone is handling a portal, and if an individual is going and downloading certain services, the portal has to necessarily pay the Indian GST. If you see section 7A, 7(1)B of the CGST Act, levies levies GST on the supply which tantamounts to import of goods into India, even if it is not in the course or furtherance of business. Now, why I am telling this is, friends, is that numerous changes have taken place, and somewhere even our small SME and SMP clients will be impacted. Now, these are the things which you would like to learn and keep a pace, so that we don't lose clients. We are also able to advise our clients that, look, this is the law in that country. There may be many exporters in Tirupur who may be exporting low value goods to many of the countries in Europe or in Australia. So you may have to read the law of that country and find out whether that country has a law with respect to low value goods, and whether the exporter who is exporting these low value goods, B2C transactions, I am telling friends, not B2B, B2C transactions. The exporters who are sending goods to their clients outside India, if they are B2C, then they are impacted by what is known as low value goods. So what I am trying to say is, friends, that SME, SMP practices keep on developing as we proceed, In fact, I know many of you may be aware that Narendra Modi ji made a proclamation when he became the Prime Minister that we are going to bring the entire black money of Indians stashed abroad into India. All the Indian account holders outside India, their accounts are going to be open for the government, and so on and so forth. But let me tell you, this is not the effort only of our Honorable Prime Minister, who occupied the chair then and continues now also. This is almost a 10-year work which 100 countries of the world sat down and agreed upon. And one fine day they decided that all their transactions will be open to scrutiny by every country, and they will share the details and data. So what happened from the year 2000, if I'm not wrong, 2018, September 1, an Indian who is abroad, and he is an Indian citizen who has a bank account abroad, the entire data or the bank account of this Indian citizen who is abroad will be shared by the respective bank to their government, and their government will share all these details to the bank, to the Ministry of Finance in India. And based on those documents shared by the respective foreign countries, the tax department in India will issue simple notices to ensure that the person who is outside India has filed the returns in India also. Now you can ask me, sir, has this started? Yes. Slowly, the government is starting this to ensure that those Indians who are outside India, working outside India, are filing their tax returns in India for the income earned in India. Now you can ask me, sir, what is the income earned in India? Please talk to some of your relatives. Please talk to some of your friends who have relatives or friends working abroad. They may hold a fixed deposit in India. The interest derived from the said fixed deposit is taxable in India as per the Income Tax Act, isn't it? Forget about the exemption. That is for you to deal with. I am not an income tax expert, but I am just giving you a general perception of this. So the interest which is taxable in India, TDS is also deducted. Please check up whether the person who is residing abroad has filed the returns and taken refund of this TDS, or if this income is not taxable, he has taken the refund. If the income is taxable, then whether tax has been paid. There may be various other factors in this. I am not on that. But what I am trying to say is, every person every person who is abroad and who is an Indian citizen has to file his tax returns in India. That is what is the regulatory changes which the Government of India made in the Income Tax Act post signing of the September 1, 2018 document, which came into force from that day onwards. Almost all the 100 countries with respect to sharing of information and so on. So day by day, the practices for the SME and SMP keeps on growing because of the fact that numerous legislative changes happen in tax laws. In fact, it is not that the practice of tax laws will vanish totally. Absolutely no. As amendments are being made by governments, as governments sit face to face to tackle each other's problems, whether it is technology or whether it is this kind of lockdown which is happening, the challenges to practitioners are manifold and keep on increasing. Now, this is what is happening across the globe. As the member of the International VAT Association, which is headquartered in Belgium, my friends, I would like to share this information with you that there are about 100 members in this particular organization. And almost all the 100 members are practicing in the VAT legislation. There are some members who are specializing only in refund. Similar situations are going to arise in India when there will be firms who will be specializing in obtaining GST refunds. In fact, one of the provision in the GST law is not yet been made operational, though it has been notified, is GST refund to travelers who are to citizens of foreign countries who come to India as tourists. In fact, this is also one area of practice which is going to develop slowly, given the fact that lakhs of tourists from outside India visit India and they spend certainly a sizable sum on their purchases in India, on their stay in India, and there will be a necessity for refunds. So friends, what I would like to say is that as the world keeps changing, as there are numerous legislative changes that happen, as the governments grapple with newer types of documentations and agreements innovated by the advocates and the legal best minds of the respective countries, the challenges to SMEs and SMPs are also fast increasing. And today, by the concept of networking, an SME is connected to almost anyone in the world. In fact, I receive normally 1 or 2 telephone calls from numerous SME, SMP seeking for clarification, asking for doubts. In fact, today is a time when many of the SMEs are seeking opinions on behalf of the clients to tackle a particular matter. The other day, I received a request to give an opinion with respect to the refunds available to the software entities. So friends, what is my take here is on this International SME SMP Day is that as members in Tirupur, you have that robust energy to develop your practices. The learning instinct is there continuously. I can see the unity which is there in almost all the Tirupur members when it comes to the institute's meetings, or when it comes to learning new things, when it comes to adapting technology or adapting areas in which their clients are involved in. In fact, today every chartered accountant in Tirupur is an expert in knitted garment technology. He knows how much fabric is required, how much consumables are required, how much thread is required, and so on and so forth in manufacturing of an X garment. There are members in Tirupur today who are experts in indirect taxes. There are members in Tirupur today who are giants in the area of direct taxes. There are members in Tirupur today who are consultants to governments in numerous areas of establishing industries, etc. I need not tell the name here. All of you know who they are in your city, in fact. So friends, having said this, I would like to spend a few moments on the initiatives that are being taken by the Institute in numerous areas. In fact, in the lockdown period, the institute has set up a 100 crore fund for the purposes of giving scholarships to needy students. So that will be announced by the president at the earliest. The Chartered Accountant Benevolent Fund has been very active in the lockdown period, whereby the applications to the CA Benevolent Fund are being processed at the earliest and funds are released for the benefits of our members and their families. Friends, the institute is going to embark upon an ERP initiative as far as its accounting functions are concerned. The institute is also, the institute has taken giant leaps in terms of examination, whereby the entire system is now automated. The entire system is now automated. Going forward, it is perceived that the results of the examinations of the institute will be released within a period of 15 days from the date of the last examination. So giant technology initiatives are being taken this year, and there has been a huge investment in technology being made by the institute at various levels. Yes, there will be hiccups, there will be problems, like we had problems last year in SSP, which is being slowly curtailed, which is being slowly brought down, and today we are in a level whereby we can say that at least 90% of the SSP portal of the institute works fine. 10% there are hiccups, and we are trying to address it, and we are meeting on a daily basis to ensure that the problems which are there in the SSP portal are addressed at the earliest, and the SSP portal is being made to work hassle-free. Friends, these are technology initiatives. On the learning initiatives, the institute is continuously organizing numerous programs on latest aspects. Publications are released on latest areas. The institute is also embarking upon the CSR initiatives to ensure that the members reach with the public, the members reach with the government, the members reach with those who need our assistance is available at all times. In fact, I would be very happy to take any questions from any of the member on any institute related aspects or on any area which I feel I can answer. Having said this, I thank the Tirupur branch for inviting me to this small talk on various aspects of practices, with a very positive note that our practices are going to be more developed. We are going to have more work in the days to come. We will not be only domestic, we will be international. We may have to know the legislation of other countries, or know a person in the other country who will be able to help us. So sitting in Tirupur, yes, you will certainly be global. Even today you are global, and truly all the practitioners in Tirupur will reap the benefits of tomorrow. Thank you very much, and I'll be glad to take any questions.
Members are requested to post their queries to RK sir.
Any queries?
In fact, there have been some queries which I received with respect to institute's examination. Let me tell you, friends, that the examination committee is working round the clock, and some application was also filed in the Supreme Court, and institute will be sending an answer to the Supreme Court. Going through the situation and looking at various development that takes place in the days to come, best decision will be taken by the examination committee and approved by the council, and will be intimated to all at the earliest. This is what is my take on the examination.
Yes, sir.
So in the meantime, tell your students, if the exam, you please study. Institute will certainly take the best decision and intimate all of you. Let them study.